99 hustles. 99 hustles.
Welcome to the 99 Hustles podcast. I'm your host, Nick Carter,
I'm your co-host, International Fees.
and we bring you compelling stories and insights from the brightest minds in entrepreneurship and business. Today, we're joined by another dope, risk-taking, self-confident, successful hustler, Kevin Pak. Kevin, thank you for being on the show today, man.
What is up, guys? Thank you for that intro. Love that. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about my story and how I can help all you out.
Absolutely. Kevin has a really compelling hustler story, a story of self-belief, risk-taking. Kevin really got his foot in the door with FBA Amazon Entrepreneurship Program. He started out like a similar story to many of us going to the typical college route, but he dropped out of college and started his journey into entrepreneurship. So without me telling too much of your own story, Kevin, take us to the beginning and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. So I'm 24 years old. I live in California, and obviously I'm Asian. I grew up in an Asian household, so the thought of education was very much high up there. There was a lot of expectation. My mom definitely wanted me to be a doctor. I figured out I couldn't be a doctor after I failed chemistry. I was like, all right, this is not working. I'm sorry to cut it, but that's not going to cut it. So,
Right.
So going throughout school, I really just didn't know what I was doing, but I went to school. Towards like the end of my senior year, I got into fitness a lot, right? Fitness is always going to be my go-to. That's kind of like my life, my passion with everything. And usually when people have a passion for fitness, they go into like the personal training route and like the opening of a gym and stuff like that. So that was kind of like the route I was going towards. So I went to school for like kinesiology and like business and stuff like that to see if that will like help me in that route. And then a couple years down the line, I was just kind of like, damn, this is not really helping me with my personal training, right? And I was working for a commercial gym, but I was like, I know that there's opportunity out there to have my own personal training business and go independent. Okay. So I decided like, hey, look, I'm going to drop out of school. And if I don't reach this amount of income, like if I don't make $4,000 a month on my own terms, I'm going to go back to school. Right. So this was like in September of like, I think it was 2017 or 2016, one of those years. It's not very clear in my head right now.
Yeah. I mean, 2020 has just ruined everyone's memory at this point,
exactly, right? I just know for a fact it was in September. And so I told myself by July, if I don't make this income, I'm going to go back to school. I hit that in February, right? And I was like, okay, we're good. Like I know, yeah. So that's the starting stone of like building my confidence into business and entrepreneurship. Like, hey, like, oh, I can make my own money. I could do this myself and I don't need school to provide me with income or anything like that. Right. Yeah. So from there, I never looked back, right? I never looked back into going to school. And as I'm doing my personal training business, and it's doing well and everything, I was making a good amount of money, $4K a month at like, I don't know, like 21 years old is not too shabby, right?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Shabby, right? But the thing is with personal training, I worked at a independent gym and it was like, independent gyms are usually like in a warehouse setting. It's not like a building where it's like AC, air conditioned, everything like that. So this gym in California, it gets fucking hot in there, right? It gets like it's like 115 degrees during the summer, and I'm training clients all day. I'm training myself as well because I'm a strength athlete. So training and fitness is important on my own end. And so it's like I'm spending 12-hour days at the gym, right? And I'm like, I'm like 3 years into it or whatever, and then I'm like, yo, like I can't do this for the next 10 years of my life. I can't do this when I'm 20 years old. Like
what was that moment? Who was that client? What was that moment where you're like, I can't do this anymore?
I don't remember what client it was because it was all days basically. Like when you're dehydrated, you can't do anything, right? So I just know it was a day where it was like really, really hot, and I was like, dude, I'm like moist in the forehead everywhere, and like I'm training this client. Love my clients. I love working with people and everything like that. But I was like, damn, it's hot. I don't know if I could do this when I'm like 40 years old. I don't know if I can do this. Like, right. So, as much as I love personal training and I loved helping people and changing people's lives with that, I knew I needed an exit plan. right? Exit plan, you figure out like, okay, this is cool now, but what you gonna do when you're 30? Like, what you gonna do when you're 40? Like,
Now, did you now growing up? I know you made a little mention of like your family dynamics and how important education was. Were you always a planner? Were you always someone that was thinking 5, 10 years down the road, like what am I doing? Or where did you learn this idea of having to come up with an exit strategy?
I think yes, I've always had I've always thought very far ahead of myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not the type of person who gets too consumed in that. I feel like I have a good balance of like understanding, like being in the present moment and knowing what I need to do now. And then also, okay, what are these steps that are happening now that lead up to 10 years from now, basically, right? So in my head, early on, I'm thinking like, okay, if I want to get to this point, what are all the steps before that I need to get to do that? So that's based. So at an early stage, I started thinking like that, right?
Sounds like a book we know, Nick.
Oh yeah.
Is that a book you guys read that's like that? What is that?
Think and Grow Rich.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
one of
for
the
sure.
most common.
Top five.
Top three, bro. Top three.
It's funny,
And it's
Kevin.
not three.
Most of the guests we have on the show, they all reference like literally the same books. Think and Grow Rich, Tim Ferriss' 4-Hour Work Week,
For sure. Yeah.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Classic.
People either really love Rich Dad Poor Dad or they really hate it though. It goes back.
I think people hate it when they found out who the guy actually is.
Yeah.
But like if we take away that and we look at the
just the art,
the information.
Yeah.
That is fact, right? That's just fact. So
and Kevin, so like one of the reasons like we invited you on the show is because we were like the Amazon FBA business. Like both Fees and I have like been in so many different varieties of like we've learned so much about different streams of passive income. Amazon FBA isn't something that like either of us are like quite familiar with. We think it's pretty unique. I know it's like a pretty popular hustle as well.
yeah.
So you mentioned like you were done with the fitness training, being a fitness trainer. From there, how did you
next?
Learn about FBA and like how were you introduced to that?
So like I said, like I needed to figure out an exit plan. And the way I came about it was I literally just like searched on YouTube like how to make passive income, right? When I started reading,
that's a good search.
99 hustles,
right? Because I think at that time I just finished reading Rich Dad Poor Dad while I was I kind of understood like, okay, I have to understand like how to use my money as an asset and not spend it on liabilities, right? And then I was just on, I don't know what it came across, but I saw one video talking about passive income, right? And then I was like, okay, let me just search this whole thing, right? So I went on YouTube, searched the whole thing. And so I came across a lot of things like drop shipping, affiliate marketing, for sure, like real estate. I mean, people talk about real estate as passive income all the time. Real estate, and then Amazon FBA came through, right? And so I was like more leaning towards drop shipping at the time. And I was like,
I feel like that's like every like digital entrepreneur's like first hustle is drop shipping.
Yeah,
You're like, wait, I don't actually have to pay for this up front. All right, I can try this out.
I don't need no money for this.
Like, you sure?
So I looked into that, but what drew me to Amazon more was because the business model made more sense to me as far as like, oh, like people shop on Amazon, like that's a real thing. Like, of course, like that's Amazon's audience. And putting a product out there, it all kind of just made sense to me. It vibed with me a little bit better than drop shipping did. Drop shipping, I know it's a legitimate business and everything. It's a real thing and it works, but I didn't think it was more in the direction that I wanted.
For you.
So Kevin,
can
you explain like what is Amazon FBA? Like, can you explain it as if like we're fresh, brand new entrepreneurs? Like, what is like? Because you go on Amazon, you see a bunch of products. I don't think many people realize that like regular entrepreneurs can put their own products on there.
Yeah.
Right. So like, can you explain it to us? What it is?
Of course. So Amazon FBA, what FBA stands for is fulfilled by Amazon. Right. So what that means is that Amazon is the company that will send your products to customers when someone makes an order. Right. And they allow customers, not customers, but they allow third-party sellers like me or, other entrepreneurs to sell on Amazon's platform. So Amazon's platform is a marketplace. It's a store. basically, right? If you have a product in the store, people will buy it. That's basically how it is, right? But what's special about Amazon is that you don't have to hold the inventory yourself. You can send your inventory once you buy it from like wherever your supplier is. Doesn't matter if it's from the US, from China, wherever you get your inventory, you're going to send it to an Amazon warehouse, and then Amazon will do all the picking and packing for you, and then you just sell your product on Amazon's website, and that's it. It's the basics of it. So that's what makes it passive, because Amazon does the fulfillment for you.
Does all the work for you.
Yeah. So it's very similar to drop shipping, right? It's just like, I just think that, I guess like you're ordering your supplies first and then sending them out, as opposed with drop shipping, the supplier sends the products directly to the customer. Is that
exactly? So there's like a little bit of a middleman. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of a middleman there. But the thing is that with the another unique thing about having your product on Amazon is you get to take advantage of Prime. So Prime is a huge deal where people get 1 day shipping, 2 day shipping, and people like that. They want that.
Yeah. Automatically boost like the experience.
As opposed to AliExpress, you know, when people were creating these Shopify stores and it's like 20 day
Delivery,
shipping times.
yeah.
Exactly. So I'm very big on delivering great customer experience, because, you know, coming from a personal training background, you understand it. Yeah. My thing was all about service. Like, let me give the best experience possible. So that's why Amazon just made sense. Like they give customers the best experience possible. So it's like, why not associate a product that I'm selling with Amazon and then give the customer the best experience?
Okay. So you did your Googles, right? You realized you did your Googles and came across Amazon FBA, and we're like, okay, I want to give this a shot. What was the first product you decided to start selling?
This thing's called an ultrasonic animal repeller. All right.
Ultrasonic animal repeller.
That's as random as it gets. All right.
Was there a personal reason behind this product, or you just found this product?
Oh, the numbers made sense, bro. That's what.
There it is.
Origins.
Exactly. So when the numbers make, Amazon's definitely a numbers game. If the numbers make sense, you should move forward with it. And at that time, the numbers made sense, but I didn't do my due diligence and like vet the product as far as like getting inspection checks, making sure the product quality is up to par with everything. So when my customers got it, it wasn't even that good quality, right? It wasn't really working that well. It led to bad reviews. It was making sales. Like I made $9,000 in 2 weeks selling that product.
Wow.
In your first 2 weeks?
In my first 2 weeks, bro. This is like off the bat, like straight up just
profit.
Just started. Not profit,
revenue.
But it's 50% profit margin. So about $4,500 profit, right?
Nice.
That's incredible.
So
right. So that's solidified the proof of like, okay, Amazon works.
This can work. So okay. So so I'm trying to make this. I'm trying to think in a way of someone's gonna be like, okay, that sounds cool, but how did you come across the product itself? Is there like a marketplace where you could find different verticals?
Suppliers,
So when it comes to finding a good product to sell and how to actually evaluate that, there are software tools that allow you to see numbers on an Amazon page. So like when you search for a water bottle, that's a keyword, right?
Right.
So that keyword brings up a bunch of products. That is a market right there, right?
So it's essentially like the SEO of Amazon.
Exactly, right? So Amazon itself is an SEO search engine, right?
Correct, yeah.
So when you do that, these software tools, whatever product you type in that you search, there's a software tool. I use personally Helium 10, and this Helium 10 software tool allows you to extract data and see like, okay, what are the numbers that these competitors are doing? How many reviews do they have? How long have they been up? How much do they make per month? All of these numbers. And based off of these numbers, and when you analyze them, it allows you to see like, okay, is there enough demand for this product? And also, is there low enough competition for me to enter the market as well? So those are some basics out of that.
Yeah. And then so you find the product, and now like where are you getting the product from? Like you said the animal, what was it again? The animal.
So
where did you get those from to even put them on Amazon?
So to source the product and get them to Amazon, you have to find a supplier. Usually you find suppliers on Alibaba, which is all the manufacturers are in China basically, right? So that's where I source my products from, is from China. And the thing is like people might have like this misconception that, oh man, Chinese products are bad or whatever. Like, no, it's just about like, it's not true at all.
Have you looked at the back of your shirt?
Right.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like
There's so
I
much
put China
hype
products and there's like,
Yeah.
oh, my favorite shirt is from China, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
So it's about the quality that you have the manufacturers make, right? And so my mistake was I didn't do that. I didn't get an inspection check, but now I do that all the time. But you get your suppliers from Alibaba. They're most likely going to be in China. And then you order it from them, and then they will ship it to an Amazon warehouse for you.
Gotcha.
Interesting. So that's already like an option, like automatically, like Amazon warehouse is an option.
Yes, so that should be your priority, is like getting into an Amazon warehouse. So when you have to create a seller account on Amazon, so
Right.
that way they distinguish who's a customer and who's actually selling, right?
Sure.
And you go on Seller Central, you can create these shipping plans, and these shipping plans, they let Amazon know, okay, how many units are you bringing in? And then when they know that and like how big the item is, they're like, okay, send it to this location, which might be Texas,
Got it.
Pennsylvania, California.
So how much would you say like that, if somebody wanted to start that business tomorrow, how much like upfront money would they need to begin, purchasing from suppliers and putting products on Amazon?
So what I always say is you should have a minimum of $3,000 to start with, but I recommend you should actually have $6,000.
Okay.
Not saying that you're going to use all $6,000, but you want to have some flexibility and cushion room in case like let's say you spend $3,000 on your first batch of inventory, right? But let's say you sell out all of that inventory. Amazon doesn't pay you immediately for each sale you make. There's like a 2 or 3 week delay lag, right?
Kind of like affiliate marketing.
Right. So you make the sale, but Amazon has to process it, and then the customer has to receive the product. Everything has to be cool. Then you get the payment. So because there's that lag time, you don't get your money right away to be able to make another order, right? So you want to have that. That's why I say 6,000, which is double 3,000, so that you have enough money to order a second batch inventory to get into Amazon as soon as possible. So
Got it. So no point you're having like a delay with like supply chain.
Man,
exactly.
It's just amazing, man. Like Kevin, this is like part of the reason, like when Fees and I talked about how why we wanted to start the podcast, because it's like you yourself are a corporation, right? How you're operating your business is no different than Kmart or Walmart or whatever other major retailer. Like you're getting products in from China, like they do. You're making sure that you have enough money to reorder from the supplier, and you're the middleman. That's what Target's a middleman. If you really think about it.
And that's what people have a huge misconception is. They think it's like a quick money business scheme type of thing, or like a pyramid scheme. No. This business model is the same exact model that literally every other company does in the world. That any product-based business literally does the same thing.
Yeah.
They just have
the same principles. Yeah.
Like they have their own fulfillment centers.
Yeah.
They ship from a different part. Their supplier might not be in China, but they might be in Spain,
Kentucky, or whatever.
Yeah. Anywhere, wherever. Yeah.
But the general business model is literally supplier, ship it to a warehouse, and then the warehouse fulfills it to a customer. Basic business right there. Very, very simple.
So, and because of that simplicity, then let me also ask you this: is $3,000 to start it? The supplier you can reach out to on the internet, online through Alibaba.com.
Right.
So there's a low barrier cost to like enter this business. Like, why are people not successful? Is my question, because a lot of people are doing the Amazon FBA thing because it's a low cost of entry. It's I don't know if you ever feel like the market's saturated at any point. But like, my question is like, why
what are the pitfalls?
Why aren't people successful? Because like so many people are doing it.
Let me say this: the barrier of entry is a lot higher than it is for drop shipping.
Okay.
Right. Because drop shipping requires a lot less money. here's something that like a lot of people don't understand. It may only take you $3,000 to start the business, but it takes more money to maintain the business. Reinvesting money into more inventory is such a cash flow intensive business that yes, you start with 3,000, but you have to put everything back into it. And months down the line, you're doing like 3,000 a month, 3,000 a month, 3,000 a month. You're putting money back into it over and over and scaling, right? So you don't see profits immediately. It takes time to really get those profits in because you have to build your business just like anything else, right? Now, the reason most people fail at this business is because they don't understand, number one, the numbers of when you look at a product, like the high revenue, low competition,
product research.
They product research, right? They do product research wrong, and they'll just like find a product that's high demand. They're like, oh, it makes a lot of money, let me just go for it. But they don't consider like, oh, damn, this is a very highly saturated, highly competitive market. You probably don't want to start into it as your first product, right? Now, if you have experience, sure, you can go into more competitive markets because you kind of understand customer psychology a bit more. You understand the market a little bit more and how to read it. But starting off, you have to do product research right. You got to do it right. You got to make sure you're checking out all the criteria, and making sure that you reinvest all your profits.
Yeah.
Don't pocket anything, not for a while.
Back in the street, yeah.
Exactly.
You gotta flip. What's the most saturated product in your opinion?
Right now, face masks.
Face mask. Oh, okay.
Anything COVID related, man.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say hand sanitizer.
Because I know there's somebody listening right now, like hype about this business, and they might have just started something, and he's like, "You're selling face masks? Nah, you gotta chill out."
What people don't consider is that in these circumstances, people don't think like this, man. They just think, oh, they see numbers, but it's like you don't understand trendiness. Trendiness is a thing, right?
Yeah.
And now, but long term, where is it going to be, right? If you look right before the pandemic, there's no demand for face masks. So like people don't think that way, and that's things you have to learn on the way.
Yeah.
But this is the whole purpose I have like a YouTube channel, stuff like that, so I can give more information, put more of a business mindset into people.
For sure. Yeah, man. I guess let's just jump a little bit back to your story. You made $9K off your first product. What would you say was like your most successful product, and how well did it do for you?
So after the animal repeller, I filled 2 more products after that.
Okay.
And this is the first year that I did Amazon FBA.
Okay.
At this point, I'm like 10K down the drain, bro. Like,
oh wow.
I'm 10K down the drain. I'm like, damn, all my money's gone.
Yeah,
and so
you about to go
obviously
looking at your dumbbells, looking at your dumbbells. I gotta get back to training.
I'm like, damn, let me just pick up some on these people real quick.
Yeah.
Bro, like legit, like straight up. So I was like, damn, let me just pick up on this real quick. So I had to rebuild my capital, and then it wasn't.
What were those 2 products before you move on?
It was a letterboard and a set of silicone cooking utensils.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. So anyone listening, trying to do Amazon, don't do any of those damn products.
Word of the wise.
Straight up.
Clear.
So so my second year doing Amazon is when I ran into a product that really matched everything. And I had my eye on this product for a long time. I'm talking about like almost 6 months. Like I was eyeing it and making sure the market was still good, and it was. So I was like, all right, let me just hop on it real quick. So I did. And this was in March of 2020, beginning of 2019, I think.
2019, okay.
Yeah, I think this is the beginning of 2019, right? So the beginning of 2019 is when I found my first successful product, and I differentiated in a way that filled a hole in the market. So I looked at the whole thing, and I was like, okay, these are all the products, but it's missing this. Let me fill in that hole, right? Because I can tell. I think this probably would have some demand because, for the type of audience the market had, it made sense to have this, and I didn't understand why no one else had it, right? So I put my creative process into it, and I differentiated it in a very strong way. And so then when I launched it in March, it made almost $9,000 in a month. So it wasn't in 2 weeks, but it was still in a month, right?
Wow.
Good enough for me. Good enough for me. It's some progress. So I got that product, and then I reinvested all the profits into more inventory. And then when it was able to sustain itself, it grew to like 10K a month, 11K a month. And then I reinvested into a second product, which is kind of like under the same like category. But I filled another hole basically.
Mm.
And so I did that. And then I went from 8K in March. And then I did 40K in November of the same year. And then I did 100K in a month in December.
Ooh.
Yes. And that was just everything reinvested.
Exponential growth right there, man.
Pushed it hard.
Wow.
Yeah, so I pushed it. I put every dollar, and I put even more of my own money from personal training because I was still personal training at the time.
I was just gonna ask because you said you were down, 9K after you
Yeah,
did
bro.
it.
That money has to be made somehow.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So like, how did you regain the capital? Because you went back to what you did, what you know how to do best is just get
this
people
whole
back.
time, I didn't when I first
Quit.
started Amazon FBA, I didn't quit my personal training. I was still working. I was working personal training the whole time while I began FBA, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always had income coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And so that year, as I was reinvesting all my profits and I was still working as a trainer, working those long ass days, I still took some of my own money and put more each month into the business. Each month, put it into my business account, right? To replenish and keep up with the demand of everything. Because it's a giftable item. So I knew that, okay, I hear a lot of things about Q4. I hear that it's a high demand time. Let me just put every damn penny into this until it arrives into Amazon, right? And when I made that first order, bro, it was not that first order, but the order for Q4, which is a very big,
your big first order.
Yeah, which was like I think it was almost $20,000 or something like that.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, holy hell, I'm nervous.
You're like, I can't lose $20,000. This have to work.
It's over after this, bro. It's over if it's.
I'm going back to school.
Yeah, straight up.
And that's I think that's the dopest part about your story, Kev. Is like you're truly a hustler, man. It's like the risk, the calculated risk that you've taken, that takes a lot of self-belief.
Absolutely.
That takes a lot of confidence in yourself. That's like, I'm going to make it work no matter what.
Yes.
That's what a hustler is, man. It's like, I'm going to drop out of school. This better work. What they say, like you jump out of like they say the entrepreneurs jump out of a plane and you build the plane while you're in the air or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, you're like, yo, I'm just going to make this work, bro. Because if not, this is do or die. And you made it work, man.
That's basically as relatable as it gets, bro. Like that's essentially how it is. And I think it's a very, very important thing for any entrepreneur, any business owner is like nobody's going to believe in you more than yourself, and nobody's going to make it happen more than yourself. All right. Nobody's going to build it for you. So you have to count on yourself and rely on yourself to get these things done. And I was like, you know what? In 30 years, I want to be well off. So let me figure this out now. Right. So that's what I did. I reinvested everything back into the business, and Q4 thankfully went very, very well. Sold out of everything, made a huge return, and I didn't pocket anything until the end of December. And I was like, all right, quitting my damn job.
I was just gonna say, man, if you reinvested everything you made in Q4 back into the business, we have to talk. Like, what's your goal here? Like, are you trying to do Walmart? Like, what exactly is the end game here? So from there, I'm assuming you're still doing this as your I guess biggest source of income at this point. Would it still be FBA?
Yeah. So now at this point, I always see Amazon as like, Amazon's never meant to be like an end all be all for me as like my career or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I like building things. I feel like that's in my nature, and I like leading as well. So really Amazon is more like a window of opportunity for me to try new things in different projects and stuff like that. Right. And because Amazon's so passive, it allows me to do that. It allows me to do that because I literally maybe spend a couple hours a week on my Amazon business alone. Right. But I spend the rest of my day doing other things, other projects, YouTube, my courses and stuff like that. I do all of those things, and then future other projects that I have going on that I really want to build and work on because those are things I'm passionate about. And so I always say like Amazon is definitely a window of opportunity because when you financially don't have to worry about your bills or anything like that,
you can focus on your passions.
It's a lot easier to go for your passions. A lot easier.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned your courses, which we'll put the link to that in the blog post, so all the listeners today can hit you up directly about learning more about this. Is that what you're mainly teaching? Is how to pretty much work the Amazon game and build your own account that way?
Yeah. So right now with my mentorship program, it's not just a course, but I actually personally mentor my students. But I teach them how to start up if they're completely fresh, or if they are current Amazon sellers, then I basically scale up their business as well. Like I help, push their advertising and optimize it a lot more, whatever the case may be. So whether you are beginner, advanced, intermediate, it doesn't really matter. My mentorship program is meant to help you in all aspects.
Awesome.
Cool, man. Cool, man. Yo, like I said, Kev is a hustler, bro. 99 hustles. He's a true hustler, man. And with that, man, like we always ask our guests that we have on our podcast is your hustler mantra. That's just like one quote or statement or phrase that you kind of live your life by or run your business based upon. If you had to give that like one quote or phrase, what would it be?
Okay, so I learned this from a video that I saw of Mark Cuban, and it really stuck with me. And this is basically what my go-to was when I was going through some dark times, when I lost $10,000 and I was sitting in my mom's room, or my room in my mom's house, just bawling my ass out, figuring like,
with that, I am out.
Rock bottom.
Yeah, rock bottom times, bro. Dark ass times, I'll tell you that. So this quote always resonated with me. And he said that it doesn't matter how many times you fail, you just have to get it right one time. Time is all it takes. And then you're good to go to the bank. And that basically resonated with me so strongly. And so every time I'm struggling, I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Just take the L, because you're going to get it right eventually. Theoretically, if you learn from your mistakes, you have to get it right at some point.
One thing has to
right.
Yeah. So that's what helped me a lot.
Yeah, man. And,
wow.
And you hit. It's
hey,
like,
sure
I only have to hit once, and then you're doing 6-figure months. It's like, that's real, man.
Teaching people how to do it themselves,
For sure.
Walking
still,
my footsteps.
Yeah, you're living the true, like the living embodiment of what everyone, truly wants to do, is live a life that they get to decide when they work, what kind of work they do, and really go after their passions. Kev, I mean, thank you so much for taking the time out today to be a guest on our show. I think you've given us and the fans a lot to think about and kind of, just to kind of, take all the gems you dropped and kind of, apply them to our own journey. So once again, thanks so much for being on the show. And we look forward to having you back in a couple of years when you tell us what the next hustle is.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys so much for having me. This is a lot of fun. This is a good one.
All right, brother. Appreciate it.
All right. Signing out.
Ooh.
All right, guys. Crazy story, man.
How was that? Was that
It was good.